And welcome back. I'm Mr. X, that's Wisdom, and we're here with the MLG 2K series Sunday. And right now, the game that we're about to get into is going to be JusTus against FaZe. It's going to be JusTus is Study, Gucci, Chino, and Tipsy, but today they have Ricky from Unite subbing in. You know, Ricky, very good search and destroy player. I watched the other night he subbed in for JCap on Optic, and they ended up winning the 4v4. I think it was a GBS&D. So they're very successful. And then on the other side, we have Classic and Replays, two very established COD players. Classic actually shocked me a lot at Columbus. He's very good. And then they are teaming with two Halo guys, two Halo vets, some of my friends, Ace and Enable. You know, two very, very good gamers. Enable, one of the better Halo players, is incredible. I believe he plays top 4 at Global Championships, and Ace, obviously, your Halo Global Championship winner.
As you guys can see, the bromance is strong between Mr. X and his Halo buddies.
I have a good relationship with my Halo buddies. I like my Halo buddies. I think that once they learn how to play Call of Duty, not really, I mean, they know how to play Call of Duty, but once they get the Call of Duty mindset, and I think Replays will actually speed them up. I mean, he's an extremely smart player. He's one of the smartest players on Black Ops 2 coming into Ghost, and he's been very good on Ghost. He knows the game extremely well. I think once he can kind of teach them and get them on a faster pace and just kind of put them in roles that he thinks that they can succeed, I think you'll see big things out of this team.
Agreed. And I think the Halo players coming in, obviously they bring their own skill set. The Halo scene, quite a bit different in terms of gameplay. We're seeing a lot of other Halo players like Snipe Down join Final Boss.
Yeah.
We're seeing, obviously, our former Primal squad, yourself and Crim. Like, I think that transition will help grow the Call of Duty game as well, because it forces the players who have been here since COD 4, so players like Nameless, Stainville, those guys, it forces them to learn and develop a new meta to counter all these Halo strats.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it adds a ton of just experience to just the community overall in general. I mean, the Halo players have been playing since 2002 pretty much, and big stage matches. They know how to really lead teams, and they know how to just work well with multiple people, multiple teammates, and they pick up games extremely fast. And you know, you see with Optic picking up Flamesword, I think eventually that'll prove to be a good move. You know, Flamesword is definitely one of the best strategist leaders from Halo. So, you know, players like that are just going to make a big impact, I think, this year. I think you're going to see, last year, it wasn't as, I mean, you had Crim coming over from Halo, and I mean, I played with Ogre too at COD Champs. I mean, he's very good. I think this year, though, you're going to see actually a lot of Halo players get into that top 8, top 4.
Now, do you think there's any Halo player specifically that stick out in your mind that'll do well this coming year?
You know, I think Ace and Enable, both because they have, I think the one thing that I guess myself and Ogre 2 probably would have did different is we probably would have teamed with Call of Duty players, and that's one of the things I told Enable and Ace, that if they had the opportunity to team with Call of Duty players, they should take it, because it'll be a faster learning curve. You know, trying to do it on your own, it was extremely difficult. I mean, we ended up going to COD Champs, so we didn't place nearly as well as we wanted to. But I think with having Classic and Replays on their team, they'll be able to get faster, up to speed. And, you know, I think their gun skill and everything's going to be fine. You know, they're amazing individual players. I mean, Ace has one of the steadiest shots I've ever seen. And I think once they figure it out and learn how to play and just kind of get that Call of Duty mentality, I think they'll definitely be some of the best players on the circuit.
And I mean, obviously Halo used to be on the circuit, so these guys are really no strangers when it comes to playing on main stage. We saw Primal play on main stage in Columbus. So I think from what I've seen, a lot of these players already have the mentality of playing on that higher tier level, and now just getting there in a different title.
Absolutely, and you know, that's another player who's going to be extremely big this year. I mean, Formal's amazing. I mean, his sniper shot in Halo is ridiculous, and you know, he's teaming with Dito and Moho now, too. Extremely experienced players, and I think there's only going to be big things for him this year as well. And you know, the first game's about to start. We're going to go into Octane Domination, and I really want to, you know, JusTus the other night, they were on Pro Scrims, and they beat Complexity pretty bad on this map, if I remember. They 100 points. You know, Study was the guy going big for them. So I want to start off with Study from JusTus, and you know, they're going to have this strip club spawn, this A flag as your home flag, and this is, I would say, the more advantageous of the two sides on this map. You know, you're going to be able to keep your A flag and also push into that pawn shop right away.
And now, you mentioned Study, so let's go on board with him first, if I can find him in my players. There he is. So he's going to be sitting, like you said, on that home flag, pushing out a little bit towards that B flag, and just trying to get some early map control here. We do see actually it looks like the JusTus guys going for that B flag quite early.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're able to take the B flag, and they actually made a nice rotation. There was a guy from FaZe rotating all the way around, trying to neutralize A, and they were able to pick that up, and that's huge right off the bat. And, you know, you see Ace, like we were talking before, one of the Halo guys, one of the best shots I've ever seen, and he's rocking an AR in this game, and I think that's the right move. You know, like I was saying before, I think replay is going to put these players in the right way to succeed, and you're seeing it right now with Ace.
And now let's go on board with Ace here. Ace has a nice little thermal sight, switches over. He's actually using the hybrid, so he's going to go back to his red dot here. Again, he's just trying to rotate back to his home flag here and just try and play some defense. Get some nice shots on Steady, able to take him out, and he's actually pushing towards that A flag now, trying to be a little bit of a sneaky beaver here.
Right, he's going to try and neutralize his A flag, and this would be a big play right here, but he's getting flanked from both sides. And, you know, right now you see replays. He's doing work. He's 6-2, and he was over there by the A flag helping out Ace, and right now he's just being annoyance because JusTus knows he's in their base, and they either have to make a commitment. They either have to push mid-map and try and force him to rotate back and defend B, or they have to just kind of go back to A and defend them. But right now he knows the spawns exactly where they're going to be spawning, and he's pushing straight up into the strip club, and he's just racking up kills like crazy right now.
Now, just take a look at the scoreboard here. Replay is going 8-2 right now, so getting some solid kills here. Ace also going 6-2, so those two doing some great work in the slaying department. And on the other side, we have, Ricky going 1-5 early on. We just still have 3 minutes in the first half, but we do see FaZe taking an early lead here in Domination.
Right, you know, FaZe is just putting a ton of pressure on this A flag, and I really like this play out of this side. You know, like I was saying before, I think the side that JusTus has, more advantageous side, they're able to push pawn and get control of the other team's base pretty easily. And for, you know, FaZe to come out and just be this aggressive off the break and just force JusTus to play tons of defense at the beginning of the round, I mean, that's really a smart play out of that team. And, you know, I really want to go on board with Gucci. You know, in Black Ops 2, he was one of the most underrated hardpoint players in my opinion. You know, he was extremely smart, knew how to play the game well, and he really is the brain behind this JusTus team.
Yes, and one thing we want to point out here is 3/4 of this JusTus squad are actually former HexP players. And HexP, like you said, Gucci, one of those underrated players, and I would say HexP, one of the most underrated squads going into Dallas.
Right.
They surprised a lot of people, and I think that's why JusTus was able to play so well in Columbus.
Yeah, and, yeah, you know, HexP, for a lot of you that might not know, they were at MLG Dallas for Black Ops 2. They placed inside the top, I believe it was the top 4 also. You know, they had a very good placing, and it's pretty much made of the same players that are on this JusTus squad. You know, playing today with Ricky as a sub. Ricky's actually a very good player, like I was saying before, you know, one of the most consistent players, an amazing search and destroy player that we're going to see coming up next. And, I mean, right now, I mean, FaZe is really taking it to him. I'm kind of shocked at this outcome right now, but, you know, Replay's 12-5, leading his team right now.
Replay is really stepping it up for his squad and providing that experience. Obviously, Replay is going to COD Champs this past year, placing well with squads like VV this year and teaming with players like Realize, like Complex. So he does have that COD experience, and I think it's really showing in the fact that FaZe here are starting to pull away.
Right, and you know, when FaZe picked up these players, they came under a lot of scrutiny just from the overall community about dropping Spacely and Huddle, but I think that there's more of a ceiling with these players. If you can teach these two Halo players how to play the game the right way and just get them up to speed, I think they can be two of the better players in the game. And, you know, a guy like Classic, who I really didn't hear a lot about before Ghost, he's played extremely well. I mean, when I saw him play on the main stage in Columbus, he was on fire. You know, right now, though, we have Unite actually taking, actually JusTus. I saw Ricky's gamer tag, and it threw me off. But, you know, taking B, and he's actually going to get taken out. It looks like FaZe is going to trip cap this and definitely get it back.
But you always have to be aware of that trip cap, because the trip cap, it's amazing how quickly points rack up on Domination when you have the trip cap. And if a team can effectively defend all 3 flags, I mean, we've seen it happen, and you really don't want to be on the losing end of that.
Right, yeah, and exactly. But right there, you didn't see really FaZe push for that 3. They could have. They have a player back there in the back strip spawn killing right there. I believe it was Replays, but, you know, Classic going huge, racking up those late kills right there in that middle area, right on the B flag, going 21-8. I mean, his AR is on point. And you see Enable laying down that support fire as well, then this FaZe team looks extremely well prepared.
These guys trying to rack up some of those pro points. Obviously, this is a 2K tournament, guys, so the winner's going to get 2,000 pro points. And those pro points, as we mentioned earlier in the day, really helpful for all of this year's events on the pro circuit.
Right, yeah, those pro points, I mean, they start adding up. I think we're ahead by a decent amount. I don't know if anyone's really going to catch us, but you know, those pro points, they determine seed for pretty much everything now. They determine seed for the 2Ks, the 5Ks, and obviously pro circuit events, so they're going to be definitely necessary going forward. And you're actually seeing a lot of the players actually playing a lot of the tournaments during the week now. Those one and done GB, S&Ds, and I believe those are for not as many pro points, obviously, as a 2K or a 5K, but they are worth some, and every pro point adds up.
Absolutely. And I mean, they also, one thing to point out as well, guys, is they also count towards the Gfinity tournaments now as well. Gfinity being one of the partner groups, we're seeing a lot of the EU guys. Obviously, we saw TCM and Epsilon come over, and they use their pro points from the Gfinity tournaments to get a good seeding in Columbus.
Right, absolutely. And you know, right now I want to stay on board with Ace, and he's going to be extremely aggressive over in this diner, pushing over towards their C flag, and you know, right there, a huge kill on Ricky right to start the game. And that's the type of start you wanted for FaZe. You can't, even though you're leading, you can't give up the pressure, and you got to keep putting it on. That's one thing that I see a lot of teams do. They get a big lead in the first round, and they give up all that pressure and that map control, and they never get it back. And right here you see a smart play from Replays. But I believe the player from JusTus knows he's over there. He probably heard him through his headset. People love to crank their sound in this game, and he's actually looking for him over in this broken area, and he's going to take him out.
Like you mentioned, so easy to crank up your headsets on this game. I mean, with the exception of S&D, I mean, even a lot of teams now in S&D don't even run dead silence. Like, it's really easy to hear someone creeping around the corner from you and goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And right there we see Gucci going big with 4 kills on the opposing team's flag, and he's going to actually take it for his team. So this is huge right now. Right now, if I was JusTus, I would get a guy in my top broken, which they have, and they're going to try and take this B flag. They smoked it. You know, FaZe is going to have to get extremely aggressive and push in. We see them get in there and take out 3 players, but you know, right there they answer back JusTus, and they take out 3 players from FaZe and left Enable all by himself, and he has to play defense on this A flag, or else they're going to get that trip cap that we were talking about before.
And Gucci made some big plays on the B flag, had a nice 2-piece in that middle crate, and then went ahead and capped that B flag. So he really set it up for the JusTus squad to start pushing up the map to at least keep the FaZe squad pinned in their A flag.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, you know, right now, JusTus controlling the map, taking both of these flags, and if they can hold both of these caps, they're pretty much going to win this round. I believe the first side was determined by about 30 points. So if I were to bring up my scoreboard right now, yeah, JusTus is up right now. If they were to hold this setup for the rest of the game, they'll win this one pretty handily.
I mean, we're only 3 minutes in, or 2 minutes in, sorry. So we still have another 3 minutes left, but JusTus, like you said, nice little setup. We did see Chino sitting up by that B flag. Unfortunately, does get taken out, and we're going to see FaZe start to push back and start pushing it towards that B flag.
Right, you know, this is a big stand from Ricky right there, picking up 2 huge kills over on B right there. That was a huge play out of Ricky because FaZe get 3 players down, like you said, and they were going to push out and try and get control of this mid-map. You know, Ricky is on a tear right now. After that's pretty much subpar first half for Ricky. You know, he's really coming on strong, going 8-3 right here in the second half.
He almost got caught in his reload, was able to get 1 kill on that FaZe player, and so he had to pick up a weapon because he actually ran out of ammo, and so now he's just going to be rotating back towards the C flag. But we do see the FaZe players actually pushing for that C flag, and they should cap this.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's a huge play right there out of FaZe. Like, it's exactly how we were talking about Sovereign before with Complexity. That's how you're going to have to play it. If they have map control and they're holding that B flag, you're going to have to go around and take C. And it looks like Replays and Enable are both going to jump on this B flag, and they're going to try and go for a trip cap phase. And it looks like they're going to have it. It just determines how long they're going to be able to hold it. And you see Ace, he's going to need to get eyes on this B flag. If he can get all these players off this B flag, that would be a huge play. And it looks like Classic coming around the back, though. He's going to be able to pick up 2 players. And it looks like FaZe is going to be able to get these back. And this is a huge comeback right now out of FaZe.
Great teamwork from FaZe on that B flag. As you mentioned, we saw Classic with a nice 2-piece on there. We saw Ace get in a little bit, and we saw Replays putting in some shots as well. Classic gets another kill, gets taken out by Study, and I'm just on board with Replays here. Replays sitting back, trying to push towards that C flag just to put some pressure on the JusTus squad and relieve some of the pressure on FaZe.
Yeah, you know, right now for FaZe, they pretty much, as long as they hold this for another maybe 10-15 seconds, this game should be over. And they played that extremely efficiently. You notice in the kill feed, they really didn't dominate the kill feed, or they really didn't control the map, but they were still able to come back and win this game just by smart plays and good decision making. And that's where replays comes up big. I mean, his decision making and leadership is on par with anybody in Call of Duty. But you know, Classic has really been the one. I mean, he dropped 21 kills in the first half. And I mean, this side, not as much slaying power, but still, he's doing the work for his team at 11 and 9.
I'm just taking a look here. 11 and 9. We have Ace 9 and 13. But I mean, he did go quite solid in that first half, so I'm sure we can forgive him for going a little bit negative. On the other side, the JusTus squad, all pretty even in kills. I mean, no one going huge in the slaying department. Classic gets a nice kill over on B-Crate, gets taken out in the process by that study that just took out Ace and Chino that just took out replays.
But you know, we're gonna have FaZe winning this first map pretty handily, and you know, huge out of FaZe. You know, they went through, like we were talking before, they took a lot of scrutiny for picking up these two players, and I mean, as we saw from both sides, I mean, they'd pretty much dominate this map against a JusTus team. I mean, plus Ricky, obviously, they don't have their full team, and they actually just took it to him pretty well. I mean, I was kind of surprised with that. I thought this was going to be a very close game, but right there we saw FaZe come out pretty handily against JusTus, and now going to Search and Destroy. This is really the game mode that the Halo players are going to have to learn. They're going to have to learn the gameplay of Search and Destroy, and I expect JusTus, with the addition of Ricky, I mean, to come out and win this one. I mean, Ricky's one of the best Search and Destroy players we have in the circuit.
Absolutely. Ricky, starting out as, he's kind of known as an S&D star, played a lot of GBs coming into the scene, and I mean, he's a great addition to that Unite squad. Obviously, Unite earlier today announcing that they picked up Stainville for their 4th player. But I mean, Ricky, I watched that tournament with Optic earlier this week, and no offense to the Optic guys, they're all great players, but Ricky pretty much carried those kids through the entire tournament. I
mean, Ricky has tons of leadership, especially on Search and Destroy. As you said, when he was playing with Optic, he was really commanding the room. He was really making the shots, making the calls, and you know, they ended up winning that one and done Search and Destroy tournament. So you know, right now I expect JusTus to come back on this Search and Destroy and just really take it to these guys. You know, they have more Search and Destroy experience, especially with Ricky and Study, and also Chino and Gucci, also very good Search and Destroy players in their own right.
I think this match will really come down to, I'm going to say that Jess is going to take S&D, and I think it's going to go to 3rd map on Blitz.
Okay, yeah, you know, right now we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have FaZe against JusTus, map 2, Search and Destroy.